Let's look at this. And I want to compare it basically with this part. Yeah, with this part of the cycle. So let's zoom in a little bit. This was 2017, where we saw that Bitcoin had that run up and Bitcoin dominance went up over here. So Bitcoin was the most important. And eventually Bitcoin went parabolic. But near that top, altcoin dominance started to increase. So after the top on Bitcoin, that's where the absolutely insane altcoin season was. And if you denominated it in Bitcoin, that's not where you had these big gains. But liquidity from all these Bitcoin gains had to go somewhere. And that's was into alt. So Bitcoin went up to 20K and then started dropping. But in the meantime, during this moment, that's where also altcoins gained that dominance and money flowed into altcoins. So it's slightly different from what we saw in 2020, where Bitcoin was slowly topping and altcoin dominance went up. Went down, and alts were more important. But it shows the example that liquidity from Bitcoin, when it had a lot of gains, has to go somewhere and has to go somewhere deeper into the market. And you can still be profitable in these alts if you pick the right ones and Bitcoin keeps dumping. Because I want to add the Ethereum chart in here too. Let's add the Ethereum in a separate pane too. I can't. Okay. Well, let's just compare it to what we had here. Let's compare it to this drop. So we had that momentum up, but as you can see, that while Bitcoin was actually topping at this moment, that's where Ethereum started running, and you can see directly that inverse relationship where Bitcoin dominance goes down and Ethereum takes over. And I think this is where I want to lead you and show you the example also in the last cycle, where eventually, remember that Bitcoin dominance went up first here and dragged Ethereum slowly with it, but Ethereum was heavily underperforming. But eventually, when Bitcoin dominance started dropping, Ethereum went up a lot. And that's where Ethereum in the longer term outperformed Bitcoin. So keep in mind, I think that's the message here. Bitcoin going up is super bullish for the market, but holding alts, if those aren't really low cap gems, are quite risky. And there will be opportunities, there will be good setups, there will be hype around some tokens, but I think the best asset to trade will be Bitcoin. Of course, Ethereum can also be traded well in this moment, but it will mainly follow Bitcoin. And sometimes, and that's the funny thing, sometimes the setup on alt or Ethereum is better than on Bitcoin. You can maybe see the trend continuation on Ethereum, while Bitcoin is maybe showing a weird chart that doesn't give you a signal. But often, it's still Bitcoin that's outperforming. And I also want to show you the Ethereum Bitcoin charts, where you can see this process quite well. And you can also see that Ethereum is a good indicator of how alts are performing. And you can see that if Ethereum Bitcoin is going down, Bitcoin dominance is going up, because Ethereum is a big part of that Bitcoin dominance in market cap. But as you can see, when Bitcoin dominance finally starts dropping over here, you can see that Ethereum Bitcoin is also moving up hard. And right now we see that inverse relationship. We see that inverse relationship with Bitcoin dominance going up and Ethereum BTC going down. So it surely is underperforming at the moment. But that's the thing for longer term. Eventually, Ethereum will outperform because it's less liquid. And I think a lot of alts that have a real use case in crypto will outperform. Because look at that. This is September 20. And even if you stayed with Ethereum, you made and bought at this top and sold at this top, you would have made 2 times as much gains compared to Bitcoin because it outperformed Bitcoin too. But if you switched it at the right moment where you maybe see Bitcoin dominance dropping or you see that some weakness on Bitcoin, you can even make more. So there might be a good optimization where you hold Bitcoin and switch it to altcoins later down the road. So keep that in mind, that even though the market is bullish, your altcoin that you're holding might not move. And you'll have to be careful that your altcoin starts moving with Bitcoin, but mostly that eventually it will have to outperform Bitcoin to be beneficial. So there are 2 strategies: just picking the right altcoins and doing a lot of analysis and a lot of due diligence, some research, like, is this useful? Will it be useful down the road? Are people developing on this altcoin? To make sure it will be there at the end of the cycle and not be just that. So that's one thing. Just hold on to your altcoins, but it might not be the optimal strategy. The alternative is just having a few altcoins and allocate some of your portfolio to those long-term altcoins, but also having that Bitcoin and maybe also Ethereum ready. So you know that in the longer term, these will outperform. And even if you're at a moment like this, like over here, where Bitcoin dominance seems to fade, that's where you are looking for altcoins. And you basically, where Bitcoin isn't giving you a lot of gains, you go and move towards these altcoins. And that's where altcoins are Bitcoin on leverage, because Bitcoin is still moving up while altcoins are moving up much more. But you'll have to pick that moment. You'll have to pick that trend change in Bitcoin dominance in relation to the chart.